Republican Nikki Haley is doubling down on her calls for mental competency tests as she tries to catch Donald Trump in the polls ahead of the South Carolina primary. Haley and Trump went back and forth yesterday at competing events, with Haley even handing out presidential competency tests to those gathered for her speech. All of this after the special counsel report questioning President Biden's memory. NewsNation correspondent Emily Finn live on the campaign trail in South Carolina. Emily.
Well, Natasha, good evening to you. This does appear to be a last-minute strategy from Nikki Haley. We are coming down to the wire here in South Carolina. Early voting in the primary begins tomorrow, and it is her home state. As you mentioned, she is still trailing behind former President Trump significantly in the polls. So she is doubling down on her go-to attack on not just former President Trump, but also President Biden when it comes to their mental competency. Natasha, you had mentioned that she passed out some of those cognitive exams at a campaign event yesterday. Well, we have copies of those tests, and we walked around the boardwalk here in Myrtle Beach today asking voters if they would be our presidential test-taking guinea pigs. Take a look. To be president as it looks, is it?
No, it's not. For June.
Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley kicking off a campaign bus tour this weekend in South Carolina, taking aim at former President Trump and President Biden's age, calling them grumpy old men and challenging their mental health.
A couple of days ago, you had the special counsel come down and say that Joe Biden is diminished, is losing his memory. Now, we all saw he didn't want to do the interview tonight before the Super Bowl. I wish him well. I do. But this is serious. And we need to be very cautious of what's happening.
Her team handing out examples of mental competency tests to attendees at one of her campaign events. The quiz including seemingly simple questions like identifying animals and drawing a clock. Can you name all of the animals in box number 4? So our NewsNation team asked some voters walking the boardwalk in Myrtle Beach to see if they could pass the competency test that Haley believes Trump and Biden need to take to prove they can serve in the White House.
I'm 72. I'm younger than both of them, and I can definitely feel the effects. Just the things that happen as you get older, I assume happen to all of us.
How many do you think that President Trump or President Biden could guess?
Oh, no, Trump would get them all.
She has been repeatedly calling out her top rivals for president to take a cognitive exam with just a matter of days before South Carolina's primary.
2 80-year-olds as our candidates? And that's not being disrespectful. That's the fact that we need somebody who's going to go in with 8 years, fully disciplined, fully ready to get the job done.
At a campaign rally, Trump brushed off Haley's concerns with his mental competency, but did agree anyone running for president should take the test.
I don't think Nikki would pass the test, I really don't. But anybody running for president, regardless of age, I think they should pass the test.
This all comes after a controversial special counsel report looking into Biden's handling of classified documents, finding the president was not guilty of criminal wrongdoing, even though he willfully retained and disclosed classified materials due to his age and forgetfulness.
I know there's some attention paid to some language in the report about my recollection of events. There's even reference that I don't remember when my son died. How in the hell dare he raise that?
In an email to the president's campaign donors, First Lady Jill Biden defended her husband, saying, "I can't imagine someone would try to use our son's death to score political points." According to a recent poll, 76% of voters say they are concerned about President Biden's age and health, while 48% say the same for former President Trump.
It's not whether someone knows the difference between a crocodile and an alligator. It's you know, how am I following logic? How am I being able to go from point A to point B to point C and bring that back together? Am I remembering the briefing this morning? Am I remembering the briefing last week? Am I remembering the key countries, the key nations, our key allies, our key competitors around the world?
So, Natasha, I mean, this test does seem relatively simple to pass. We got a snake, an elephant, an alligator. The questions do seem pretty easy, but what I thought was really interesting is that there's even room for error. You only have to score 26 out of the 30 total points on the test in order to be considered normal. But if you do score less than 10, that is severe cognitive impairment. And so the voters that we spoke with today say that they would like to see all of the presidential candidates take the test to ensure that they're not in that 10 scoring category, Natasha.
Okay, Emily Finn, with that breakdown in South Carolina, we appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.